Welcome to Epic Yarn Gems. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make these happy little snowflakes. The yarn I used was Premier Yarn Cotton Fair. It is 52% cotton and it is in the color white. To make these you need a pretty small crochet hook, so I used my B hook. It is 2.25 millimeters. The first thing we're going to do is a magic ring or a magic circle. We're going to take our hook underneath that first strand of yarn, grabbing the second, pulling it under the first, giving it a little twist. After we do our little twist, we are going to do a chain 3. In this pattern, the chain 3 does count as a stitch. The next thing we will be doing is double crochets into the center of the ring. After our double crochet, we will be doing a chain 1, and that will be the pattern all the way around until we have a total of 10 stitches. Like I said, that first chain does count as a stitch, so what you'll be doing is you'll be doing 9 double crochets into the center with the chain 1 after it. So if you need a little reminder on how to do a half double crochet, what we are going to do is we will yarn over, go into the center of the circle, pull up a loop, yarn over, and then we'll pull through the first 2 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull through the last 2. And that's how you do a double crochet, and then we'll just do a chain 1 after it. As we're finishing up the circle, we're going to finish that last chain 1, and then we are going to tighten our circle. To do that, you are going to grab the tail and you're just going to give it a nice firm tug. Then we will do a slip stitch into the second chain in that original chain 3. So to start the next row, we are going to do a chain 5. We are going to skip the next stitch, which is the top of that original chain 3 from the previous row, and we are going to do a slip stitch into the next stitch. That's going to anchor this little chain to the magic circle. Then what we're going to do is we're going to do a chain 5 again. We are going to skip one stitch, and in the next stitch we are going to do a slip stitch. And you will complete this all the way around until you have 10 loops all the way around the magic circle. As we finish this row with our last slip stitch right into the bottom of the chain that we started with, we are going to be doing slip stitches up the side of that chain 5 into the first stitches. What this does is it creates a flatter, more smooth transition into the next row. And just like snowflakes, each of these are a little bit unique depending on how you finish up and your tension and all of that. But we're going to go into our next row and continue on. You can see it's starting to look a little bit like a snowflake. So what we're going to do next is we are going to do a chain 7. Once we finish this chain 7, we are going to go back into the third loop from your hook and do a slip stitch. So we're going to go back 3, so there's 1, 2, and 3, and that's what we're going to do our slip stitch into. And then we are going to do another chain 3. What this is doing is it's creating the tips of the snowflake, and you'll see here in a second how that's going to turn out. So after completing our chain 3, we are going to go back from the third loop from the hook again and do a slip stitch into that stitch, and then we are going to do another chain 3, and on that chain 3 we are going to go back 3 stitches again and do a slip stitch join. As we finish up, we are going to go back and go into that same stitch that we had started this with, which was 3 from the end of the original chain 7, and we're going to go right back in there and do another slip stitch, and that is going to join that little cluster of stitches together. And really that is probably the most complex piece of doing the snowflake. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to do a chain 4, and you are going to attach that chain 4, anchor it back to the center of the snowflake by going into that chain 5 from the previous row, and you're going to want to go right into the center of that area. So it is the chain, the third chain in that cluster. The next thing that we're going to do is we are going to do a chain 3, and then we need to anchor that chain 3 to the center of our snowflake. So we're going to go right into that next hump that was created by the chain 5 from the previous row, going directly into that center, which would be your chain 3. And there you go, it's starting to look like a snowflake, and that really is just a repeat that we'll be doing all the way around. I'm going to go through the repeat pattern one more time with you. So you're going to do your chain 7. You're going to go back from the third loop from your hook, go into that third loop, and do a slip stitch. After you finish the slip stitch, you are going to do a chain 3. Then you are going to go back into the third uh, stitch from your hook and do a slip stitch into there. You're going to do that one more time. So you're going to do your chain 3 one more time and count back 3 loops from your hook and go directly into that third loop and do a slip stitch to join it. Now you're going to attach that little cluster that you just made of stitches back into the original chain, and you'll be doing that right into that same area that you did your first slip stitch join. You'll be doing a chain 4, and after you complete the chain 4, you'll be attaching that to the center by going into the next little hump that was made by the chain 5, going from the previous row, and then you're going to go into the third chain from the hook with a slip stitch join. After that, you're going to do your chain 3. The chain 3 will be attached to the center by going into the center of that 5 chain that we made in the previous row, again going into that third stitch or the third loop from the end. And that is really it. So here you go. It's starting to look a little bit more like a snowflake. The last thing you're going to do is that last chain 3, and you'll just attach that chain 3 or anchor it to the original start of this row, and then after that you'll just pull your string or your yarn through and tie it off any way that you what works best for you, whatever join works best for you. Weave in your tails, which I know we all love to do, and then you will have your snowflake completed. At this point, if you want to add any embellishments to it, you could put some glitter on it and then spray it with some of the spray glue. Also, if you want to make this a little stiffer, it is the yarn that I use does make it actually pretty sturdy, but if you wanted it a little stiffer and a little more defined, you could take the pins to the end and attach it to, stretch it out a little bit and attach it to a piece of cardboard or styrofoam, and then give it a nice spray of the canned spray starch just to make it a little stiffer, but that is up to you. Make it your very own. I want to thank you for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If so, please give it a thumbs up, leave me some comments. Also, if you'd like to see my future videos, please subscribe to Epic Yarn Gems and turn on notifications. Thanks and have a great day.